I'm very happy to present you Markus Günther from Temet and Jörg Jungblut, Information Security of SBB. And they will talk about efficient awareness made SBB, and one size fits all was yesterday. Just for a procedure, maybe it would be very kind if you could ask your questions in the end. I hope there will be still time for it before the lunch break. And yes, please. Markus, Jörg, please, it's your turn.
Thanks a lot. First question, we are prepared for do our talk in English. Is that okay? Otherwise we can also do German, but we're prepared for English. Okay, so question for you. What do my pants, a pair of gloves, and an awareness concept have in common? Probably. If they don't fit, they don't make sense, right? They're useless. So this is the main idea that will follow this talk. We will share our journey. We want to inspire. What we definitely not want to do is we do not want to claim that we found an universal idea for any company, for any situation. Okay, so this is our journey. It may inspire everybody else or a few of you, but this is not the perfect solution for every scenario. So we will talk about this during the next 30 minutes. And yeah, Jörg, please.
Thank you. So who are we anyway? My name is Jörg Jungblut, as you already heard. I'm, since 2 years now, responsible for cybersecurity and information security at public transportation at SBB. And?
My name is Markus Günther. I'm a security consultant at Temet AG in Zurich.
Yes. And what we share is the passion for the human factor and human risks in awareness. So we talk about general challenges today in the field of awareness before later on we then put a deeper dig into the SBB solution we have created over the past 18 months. So what do we both personally associate with this topic? What have we observed in the past? We have prepared something for you. Just a short look on it. Where do we come from, mostly? Do you find yourself in this or your team? Is this what happens regularly at your company, in your daily life? I mean, awareness often means you have this kind of annual training, this annual refresher, repetition part, mostly driven by regulatory requirements which are increasing. But there are two complicating factors for myself. It's the same than last year, and my personal opinion is just click it through as fast as possible because I don't care about it. I have made it last year and it was boring last year as well. So you will not provide a refresher in the sense that the wave of awareness may rise, but you will do something to have an audit click point finished. So do you know about that? What do you think from your perspective? Have you asked your employees to do such things? What material are you using? We have prepared some. Oh no.
1 second.
We have prepared a poll for that.
Back online in a second.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, we ask for patience. We're not professional speakers. We do our best.
Everything was checked in the beginning, but you know that Murphy rules, and this is what happens here.
Yes. There it goes. There it goes.
Maybe you can grab your phone to. I say it's not a quizing topic, but you can scan then the polling one.
Yes, I'm online. Okay, we're online still. What we wanted to ask is if you are working in awareness or if you had contact this year with awareness material, what did you face? did you face the same content as last year? Did you face completely new content or program? Or did you face a modified, updated content? So who of the audience faced exactly the same, briefly the same like last year? Okay. Who received updated or modified content? Who received something completely new? Okay, perfect. That's what we want to do with with our survey that is still offline. Great,
Yeah.
love it.
So you have to go back to PowerPoint now.
Yeah. Okay. So let's be honest with that. I mean, we come exactly from that we repeat the content likely each year. And it's exactly the same content, and even worse, it's the same content for everyone, right? We built one package, one training material, and everybody received it. And if we talk honest about it, I mean, there are really good reasons for that. Right? I mean, economic perspective. You paid once, so reusing it does make sense. Another factor is that if you are under regulatory supervision, you have to prove something. And it's super easy if you have the same content for everyone and you just send it out every year, right? That's super easy. There's just one KPI. What's the amount of people that completed exactly that mandatory training? So let's be open and fair. That works. But if we have a look at the SANS maturity model, which we show here, we stay compliance focused. Who's using the SANS maturity model? Who heard about it? Okay, great. Great maturity model. It shows up ways how to improve your program and gives you the possibility to find your place, the maturity of your program. What we did in the past, what we've seen and encountered mainly is that the only thing you do is you measure, did you complete the training or not? That's the only thing you do, right? You don't have a look at behavior or change. You ignore that. And that's exactly what you do on that second stage, on compliance focused. And we think that this is a risk because you only focus on this, but you don't focus on the risk itself. Only because of completing a training session, that doesn't mean risk is reduced. That's what you have to look at. And I think most of people remember that statement from Peter Drucker, who said, if you can't measure it, you cannot control it. So the only thing we control in this moment is how many people completed my training. That's just a plain number.
So, but now back to the practice at SBB.
Sorry.
We assume that we do not have to present what service SBB offers. I mean, I think most of you hopefully just arrived by train today or something like train. We try to move our culture, sustainability, culture maturity up to level 4. That is what we are aiming for. Of course, we haven't reached it yet, but the next steps we are focusing on will help us to go forward in that topic. So, but what looks good on paper, we want to achieve maturity 4, is often a little bit a kind of mud water path. So the water is deeper, the effort is greater than you may think about it. So we have a kind of obstacles at SBB that makes us a little bit struggle with the situation on trainings. That means we do have at SBB approximately 33,000 employees and maybe up to 10,000 external employees within 150 professions, different professions from normal manager, business office oriented up to those in orange, those operating trains, driving trains, etc., which is a huge challenge for us to bring up what is relevant for them. So we do have at least 50 locations where we have to bring up information security as a topic. And of course, we always discuss about what is the relevance for it. On the other hand, we are moving around 1 million people per day in Switzerland. And if our IT systems have a hiccup because of a cyber incident, information security incident, then the whole Switzerland will start coughing, right? Because we are a kind of very hard, critical infrastructure for Switzerland, for the business. So our topics rise then from various things like visitors, like Microsoft M365, we have mobile devices, even for those operating trains. We have social engineering, we have the password topics, we have privileged accounts, all the stuff you already know, but we have it divided throughout all those locations, all those professions on various levels. And of course, just as a fun fact, we do operate assets that are about 100 years of age. So if you think about legacy system, just face that train operation is something different in that case. And of course, upcoming, we do have an increasement of regulatory requirements. We are coming from the classic ISO 27001, but of course we have others like the IEC 62443. We do have Cyber Resilience Act. We do have from our regulatory part the cyber security for railways. We have the handbook for public transportation, etc. Quite a lot of them requiring us to do training, to bring up the topic, of course, and all require security measures, but for which costs?
So I think the problem statement is clear, right? We have a broad audience at SBB. We have many professions. We have IT, OT, IoT. So what do we do? What are possible solutions to solve that issue? Well, from the past, we know one possible solution is one size fits all, right? We create a single content as part of our program. We assign it to everyone, and we make it mandatory to be repeated year by year. Well, as we show in these memes, one size fits all doesn't work all the time. In most cases, it probably even doesn't work at all. The thing is, what makes it complicated or easy, depending on the perspective, is we used to have a centralized approach, meaning we have Switzerland, we have many sites, people are spread all over the place. And from here, from Bern, we decide that now it's time to do and repeat the mandatory training for everyone. That's the centralized approach. And with this centralized approach, we have the possibility to either create an awareness program that covers every risk we know, but only on the surface. The benefit is it keeps it kind of short, but you don't go deep. Additionally, with our setup, we have people in the office, and we tell them what risks appear when you operate a train. Great, but doesn't help. On the other side, we have people that only operate a train. Their risk scenario is completely different from somebody entering the office at 8 o'clock in the morning and leaving it at 5 p.m. So both sides get what they don't need, right? They get more, but more often doesn't help. Alternative B, everybody gets what we see, so we address all risks, but very deep. So we really go down in detail. This would result in a mandatory training from around about 2 to 4 hours, We calculated for this that it costs us around 40 personal years if we repeat that every year. Because remember, we have nearly 50,000 people, we have to do it. That's tremendous cost, that's around about 10 million francs per year only for repeating this training. So the centralized, repeated approach has way too many disadvantages for us. It just doesn't work. On the other side, it's easy for us because we can show compliance. We've seen the slide with the regulatory questions. So we gain, but we lose. So we decided that the centralized approach and the one-size-fits-all approach does not work for us at all. We want to go the decentralized way. And now I'm excited to see if we're online now. If I press the button.
Nope.
And we're not online. Yes. Okay. So, what we wanted to ask is, what do you think, what do we need in order to achieve a decentralized awareness program? Can anyone imagine what decentralized means? Is that obvious?
Divided by the different cultures, as in cross languages, and then start from there.
Yes.
Divide your target groups.
Exactly. For example, right, you divide them. Instead of us giving all the commands and telling the people what to do, we spread the responsibility. But you cannot do that from today, right? You cannot start spreading responsibility. So any idea what would you need in order to do that with your company or your environment?
Maybe something like a security champions program where you have people in all the
Great.
different teams that know
Yeah.
their teams.
Great, yeah. Great way to distribute responsibility and on the other side gain visibility. We want to talk about what we did. That's part of what we did, but just a piece of the puzzle.
So we bring up the idea of handing over awareness as a leadership function, as a leadership responsibility. And if we hand it over, what does that mean? We need to find ways to empower the team leaders, the division leaders, etc., to identify what is necessary. What do my people have to do using their process? What is the risk behind it? What is the aim behind it? So we build up a 3-part tool coming from the line manager and then giving him the chance to identify risks, to have a look at how his organization performs, and then identify and invite others to perform training nuggets.
What looks quite simple is quite challenging in the back. We have 6 essential elements that we want to talk about that establish and maintain this simple tool picture. First, and probably most important element, is leadership awareness. And leadership awareness for us doesn't mean we have a slide deck that we send to every leader at SBB. Leadership awareness for us meant that we talk to everyone who's leading a team, everyone who's in responsibility. Yes, we've talked to thousands of people during the last 2 years. But we now have a, technically you would say, nice backbone, who is aware of the risks outside, who is supporting, and who's awaiting boots on the ground. There's nothing more dangerous than starting an awareness program that focuses on their people if you don't have their backup. That's for us the main thing. We need their backup. And again, nearly 50,000 people. We focused on our 2 divisions that we have, and that alone was 1,500 people.
15,000.
Yeah, but 1,500 people in leadership
Yeah.
that we talked to. benefit for us, we got their side. So we were not there just to talk, but we asked, what do you think, or do you know even, about the risk situation in your team? What are you afraid of? What did you hear of? Did you have incidents in the past? What do your teams report on? Right? So we gained a lot of knowledge. At the same time, we were able to create a great connection into these teams. And that's what we build on. Second part is transparency. If we want to distribute responsibility, we cannot do this without giving them access to what we know. And what we did is we built a dashboard that's accessible to the leadership, and we start bringing up more and more KPIs to that. We help them understand, we give them an interpretation, we use traffic lights to indicate, should you do something or are you okay? And if you should do something, then please go ahead and have a look at our third part. Third part is we collected everything we have. Every e-learning, every poster, every service, every training, every consultancy. Whatever we have, it's at a single place. Whatever you're looking for, you can find it here. Before, I knew, yeah, we created a poster 5 years ago. It might be somewhere, I don't know, do we have it as PDF or physically? No one knows, okay? So same with, there was some training content back then. We had some presentations. Somebody created them, somebody stored them, somebody lost them. You probably know that, right? There is content, but where is it? No one knows. So we took all the content, put it in there, and we have them actively managed. So they expire, so you have to refresh them to ensure they're up to date, and they still have high quality. The third tool that we built is a risk check. You might question, how do you measure that, and how do you measure that? Well, I can tell you, I still have no idea. We started, right? That's a journey. But for the things that we cannot measure right now, we build a risk check. So tell me what you're working with. Tell me about your day, the tools you use, the people you talk to, the ways you communicate. And I tell you what risks you have. And based on the risk profile you have, I would advise you to follow these steps in our training. Take this training and this training, take a look at this content, and then we have these risks covered. I still cannot measure them today, but I have them covered. And this tool, by the way, is open to every employee. That's not just for the leadership. Yeah. Fifth part, essential part of the puzzle is security champions, right? We have the backup from leadership. They support us. They take responsibility, but they don't have the complete knowledge of cybersecurity. And they don't need to, because we give them the possibility to train security champions. They get a little more knowledge. We have a 3-step security champion program, and they assist locally in leadership. They can answer questions that we also could, but we are not there. Right? We're here in Bern. Not anyone can call us. And sixth part is, of course, the continuous improvement of all these tools and also the exchange. We are just about to face another round of leadership exchange. We will again talk to all our leadership. We will get their feedback, see where they are, get their concerns, and improve the program even more.
So, as a conclusion, where we're heading to, a year ago, we started with the leadership to invite them to share their views, their needs with us. We try to build up certain information nuggets to employees. We start measuring situation, and this year ends in the fourth quarter. We are heading now. We start next week, Monday, with the next awareness round at division level, which is at least 12 to 15 rounds we will have, just to share how is the progress going. We have made security culture poll throughout a third of our employees, and we gain some insights, and we share those insights with the aware and management buy-in leadership. and then we see what we need for next years to improve it. Are there any other KPIs? Are there any other needs that we have to face? Is it something like how to handle USB, how to effectively use a malicious mail button and stuff like that, which is then ordered by the leadership, by themselves, for those who need it as a decentralized solution. So I think the last poll will not work as well. Yeah,
Of course.
so I think, thank you for this.
Yeah, the last poll was actually a question. Give us feedback about the idea, right? We want to know, do you think, well, doesn't fit at all into my environment? Probably fits, or that's great stuff, right? We wanted to ask with the poll. So, what do you think? Is that who thinks that absolutely does not fit into his environment or doesn't make sense? You can raise the hand. It's just our journey, right? We are just curious. We just want to know. Yeah. Who says, well, that could probably help us, right? That's a little inspiring. Okay, appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, so, I mean, basically we achieved our goal. We wanted to share the journey. We want to inspire. We're also looking forward to future talks today. We will be here during the day. So I will be here during the day. You will leave in some hours, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. If you have questions, we'll be around. Happy to answer.
Hello, thank you very much. I'll take over for the questions. We have, I think, 3. We're a little bit over time, so if anyone really has to leave, please state shortly your name, where you're from, and thank you very much.
Okay, new rules. I'm Claudia. I'm working for a pharmaceutical company, and I am interested in, what you presented is really thrilling, I believe, but it looks like you did a lot of work in the background, as you mentioned somewhere in between the lines. That comes with a price tag, doesn't it?
Yes, it comes with a price tag. It is, I would say, a good invest. We have, I would say, half an FTE with that, plus some external Power BI capabilities over the past 12 to 18 months. So this is something that is more or less fine for a company with the size of more than 30,000 people.
Yeah.
So yes. Most of the problem was that there is data, but no one knows how to interpret it to information. And Power BI is a powerful tool, but nevertheless, it's quite difficult to bring all those together that a leader can interpret it. Okay.
To us, it was important that we build up a sustainable program. We can achieve fast success with just buying something and pushing out, but with what we did with the leadership now is an essential basis for what we will do in the future. They address us with questions. There is trust, right? They know us. We've talked to them, and we know them. And that's such a strong connection. You cannot value that with money. Of course, it had a price for everyone, for the whole company and for us. But it's definitely worth the effort.
Cornelia is my name. I'm from SwitchSat, and I'm working in security awareness. Really great talk. Thank you so much for sharing it. I have lots of questions, but I'll come and ask you later. There's one which I think is probably the most interesting one. So I really love the approach via team leaders, right? However, they're also kind of the gatekeepers now, or like a bottleneck. Do you have, do they actually have to do this? Do you enforce it? Or what if, because this is what I've seen a lot, that some leaders are just not interested and then they don't pass it on?
Well, this is a great question and a great challenge, of course. I mean, if you have 1,000 leaders, then of course 200 do nothing, 200 do a lot, and the rest is looking what happens. More or less. The main issue we have is that we have to share this to upper management as well, how they progress. We see incidents, we see topics that arise. We have the security champions community raising up. They are kind of seamen we have around in the field, and of course this influences the leaders how to do something. We now start going to top management on N-1 level, discussing about how their progress is in comparison to other division parts. And of course that will bring up a kind of sensitivity with the topic. They will address this in their own leadership, and so it flows down the river to our understanding. And this is what we are presenting. And beside that, we are doing this cultural poll so that we identify, is this something that addresses the people in the field by themselves and not only the leaders? And yes, of course, we cannot say we will have full success. We cannot say we failed. We will see in the next 3 to 4 months how it works.
Also, we have to add that the more value you bring in, the more valuable it gets, right? So currently, what we just showed was the cybersecurity culture part. But security culture for us has far more perspectives, right? We have safety, for example. And if you can achieve to combine multiple views into a single dashboard, they're even more likely to use it. And we also aggregate. You don't have to go down and look what's your social engineering click rate, right? We have a traffic light on the top level that tells you you should go down and look into the details or you shouldn't. And so we have some aspects that make it easier, but also some developments that will increase its value. And that's a development, right? They will not change from today, but we've already seen great success, and they're actively into it.
I have one more question there.
Marcel, I do wear various hats. It looked from the nuggets that you described that there is no fixed set of online materials, or there maybe isn't even a set of online materials. How do you do the communication? Do you have traditional online training, or do you go more into the printed forms, or what do you do?
Yeah, right now we have a kind of basic tool. Most of our training right now is online. We use Sway, I think I can say that. So we're right now heavily focused on Office 365 tools to support us. But also that's legacy, right? We gained that from the past. Every tool you use has some capabilities and some deficiencies, and we're now figuring out how to improve the impact, right? And if that content within that tool has limited impact, then we will move away to a different tool or a different way to present it. And that's a continuous program of rolling out, getting feedback, measuring, and improving, right? The PDCA circle, you try, you get feedback, and you improve. And of course, that means we will never reach a point where our program is finished. It's continuously evolving, adapting to new topics, new workforce, probably younger generation or older generation using technique. You never stop.
And finally, we have, of course, we have physical, we have short ones. We presented in the tool that if you use this, you have you need 1 minute reading time, or you need 15-minute online training, or stuff like that, or you can book someone just to come into some team meetings and offering direct information. This is what is part of this toolbox approach. So we have a lot of nuggets, I don't know, 20, 30, 50, it's a huge amount coming over the years, like a PDF poster to be self-printed, like a prepared email just to send out just an invitation or a direct linkage to a learning management system. All that is covered inside that.
But also it depends on the target group, right? With leadership, we have special content only for leadership. But what we do is we address them, they receive the content, and then later on we have a follow-up on that in person, right? And this group really appreciates that we show up there wherever it is, if it's in Bellinzona or in Bern, whatever. We are there to discuss it, and you really have to think what's important to the target group. But there's it again. One size fits all doesn't work. Yeah, you have to split it. Yeah, thanks for the question.
Are there any more questions? This might be what I meant something about. The time is almost up, so maybe any further questions you can direct to Jörg and Markus themselves. Thank you very much. We are